Hey guys, and welcome to the Kane Audio vlog. It's Friday, so it's time for another Ask Me Anything. Usual rules apply. If you've got a question for me to do with anything music industry related, sound design, production, engineering, you name it, or hell, ask me anything about my life, whatever, then please do comment below this video and I'll get to you next week by reading out the comments. House admin before I begin. I'm not sure there is anything. It's been a pretty busy week. I've been writing some music for what will hopefully become a TV advert, but it's one of those high risk, high reward things. So, don't know, probably not going to happen, but we'll see. Obviously, I'll let you know if it does. Other than that, I don't think there's too much going on, nothing new, usual stuff. Yeah, let's get on with it. There's only a couple of questions this week by the looks of it, so this one's probably going to be a short one. I am not sure if there was anything from last week that I kind of wanted to cover again. I'm sure there was. I know every week I film these videos and I finish the video and then I think about the question, because I don't read these questions. I mean, I sort of see them as they come through, but I don't give too much thought until the video. And every week I film these videos and then I'll get to bed tonight and I'll go, oh, I should have said this. Oh, actually, I should have said that. But that's life. Anyway, right. Yanis Luckmelis, Powerflex, high five. Deadmau5, the Mexican Deadmau5. Thanks for this week's AMA, Dom. Great content, Powerflex, high five. I remember you saying that your PC is getting old right now and that you will have to upgrade to a new one. Can you tell us, before switching to a new one, what specs does your current PC have? And have you ever considered making a Discord server where we can chat and have a talk with you? Cheers. Okay, starting with the PC. So I'm on a Mac Tower. It's the 2009 version, I think. I think it's a 5,1 is the actual model. At the moment it has, I think it's only 1 gig of graphics. It's 8 core but dual virtual, so technically 16 core but old school. I don't know the speeds off the top of my head. In fact, I could probably tell you. Let's have a look about this Mac, but it's 32 gig of RAM, I remember. Right, so it's, yeah, oh, so it's quad core but dual quad core, so it's 2 times 2.6 gigahertz quad core Intel Xeon. I think it's the Nehalem chip. 32 gig of RAM, DDR3, which is now pretty much redundant, ATI Radeon HD 5770 gig of graphics. So yeah, that was right. So yeah, it's old. Running stuff like Bitwig, not a problem. I have a UAD DSP card in there as well, so that does a lot of the processing on behalf of whatever DAW I'm using. So there's no real concern there. Yeah, running most things is fine, and this is what I've kind of mentioned before about how Apple have annoyed me by throttling things like Final Cut Pro, and one of the reasons it annoys me so much, and one of the reasons it annoys me that they refuse to now support these computers with the newer OS, is because it runs absolutely fine. There's no problem. It's not a slow machine. It's a powerful machine, even though it's 10 years old now. So that can be quite annoying. But on to what I will be looking at. You know, the spec of this, what was it, 2 times 2.26 quad core. So, you know, now we're in pretty much, you know, 6 or 8 cores of 3 point something gigahertz, and you know, the important things on a computer spec is things like the L2 cache and stuff. So that's more important these days, and they've come on so far. You know, I've got 1 gig of graphics in here, which is upgraded probably twice over. I think I can now upgrade it to 2 gig, but is that going to make a difference? Probably not on a 10-year-old machine. So yeah, so it's got to a point where I think I need a new machine. I'm probably looking at the new, not the newest, but just before the iMac Pro. I think it's the iMac 5K. I'm looking at that, but again, there's things like the UAD card which I'd have to change, using my old SATA hard drives, and I've got SSD in there as well. I'd have to get a caddy for that. It's no big deal, but you know, these things can get a bit annoying, really. So what was the question? I remember you saying the PC's getting old, you have to upgrade. Tell us what specs your current PC is. So yeah, there we go, that's the answer to that. Have you ever considered making a Discord server where we can chat and have a talk with you? Cheers. I haven't thought about Discord, but maybe that's a good idea, or Telegram or something. I have thought about doing a Facebook group, and I think a Facebook group might be better, where you guys can all talk to each other and support each other. So if you know, if somebody posts a question on how do I EQ this or whatever, then, you know, if I'm not available, which let's be honest, I'm not always available, I'm generally quite busy, then it means, you know, other guys can jump in and join in the conversation. And also I think the advantage of a Facebook group as well is that you can search previous posts, because we all know, especially the long-time followers of this channel, we all know that, you know, a lot of people have the same problems over and over again. So I think that's easily solved. So yeah, Deadly Custard. Hey Dom, Moog 1 looks good, eh? Given your connection with Moog, have you worked on this one at all or had a play with it yet? Powerflex, high five. No, I haven't. I didn't work on it. I wish I did. And I didn't really know anything about it. Because I wasn't involved in that project. But yes, I have seen it, and yes, I have heard it in action, and it is just incredible, to be honest. There's no other way of describing it. Yeah, it's taken synthesis to a whole new level, and knowing, you know, how much effort and work and how good the results were with things like the Sub 37. Yeah, that it blows my mind that they have managed to do this with a polyphonic synth. The number of voices and oscillators is just mind-blowing. It's very expensive. No, I won't use the word expensive. It costs a lot of money, but it's not expensive, and the reason I say that is because it is worth every penny, if not more. When you look at the architecture and thought processes and the research and development that must have gone into this machine, you know, I mean, you know, there's some serious money involved. So it's something I am very, very tempted to look into more seriously. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough if you have that kind of money lying around. Rod Marconi, many thanks, Tom. Powerflex, high five. My question, is it okay to have 2 separate reverbs on a sound? Sure, why not? In fact, I quite often add a touch of reverb to the initial channel of a sound, and then you'll notice my sort of signature sounds in the big leads, you know, on the last note of a phrase or something, I might suddenly ramp up the reverb. And the way I do that is I actually have a send channel with 100% wet reverb that has a long tail on it, and I will have something like LFO Tool sidechaining it as well, so it flows with the groove of the track. And then on the last note of a phrase, I'll just send that last note to the return channel. So there's reverb on the original sound anyway, but usually a fairly short tail and a bit roomy, and then I'll just send the gain of that to 100% into the sends on, you know, for example, the last note of a rotation. So I think when it comes to playing with maybe multiple reverbs, you need to maybe ask your question, why have two reverbs on a sound? They need to be different reverbs, I suppose. You know, if one of them has a completely different diffusion or a decay time or the room size or something along those lines, if the two reverbs are completely different and doing different things and have a different purpose, then yes, sure, have two separate reverbs on a sound. But if they're just identical, then I don't see that could be of any use. I'm trying to think of how it would sound in my head. For example, if I had, you know, a decay time of say 3 seconds and then another one with a decay time of 3 seconds, your total decay time will be slightly more than 3 seconds because of the nature of a reverb extending sound, but it's not going to be much more than 3 seconds. But I guess you're doubling the diffusion maybe, so I suppose it would sound different to just one reverb being on a 3 second decay. How different it is, I've never tried it myself, and maybe that's something I'll look into. Maybe that's something you guys should try out, and you tell me. If you have two identical reverbs, how much different does it sound? And then the more important question is, could I have achieved that sound using just one? So for example, if it just sounds more hally or roomy or thicker, could I have got that same effect in the first place had I just turned one of the other dials? So yeah, there we go. Maybe the alternative reason is if you've got a long chain of things and you say you had a reverb with a long tail and then an LFO, you know, doing a sidechain effect, or a compressor doing a sidechain effect, and then another reverb after that to take off some of the sidechain effect. I suppose, yeah. So there we go. Is it okay to have two separate reverbs on a sound? I think the answer is yes, but it really depends on why. Outsider, Powerflex, high five. Good luck with the MOT. Oh, it passed, which was a shock to me because there's a couple of bits that needed doing that I didn't get done in time for the MOT, which is fine because I'll still get them done anyway, but they weren't even bad enough to fail the MOT anyway, so there we go. All good. Cheers. Zombo, also, what are your thoughts on internship? I don't know what the general question is. Internship, I think, in general can be very good, but it needs to work for you as the intern. So I'll give you an example. In fact, my plan is, I think, once I've got the garden studio built, I am probably going to be looking at getting an intern of sorts. There are some great universities around here, 3 that I can think of off the top of my head, that all do music production courses. And so if, for example, one of the students from those courses could have, you know, let's say they had Monday afternoon off from college, university, and they wanted to do, they wanted to become a sound designer, let's say, then my plan would be every Monday afternoon, because they're available at that time, then they could come over and help me do some sort of sound design work or whatever, you know, as projects come in, and sort of help, well, just run the place. But I think what we need to be careful of when it comes to internships is they need to hold value to the intern, because internships generally aren't paid, so they need to be local or doable at least. And I wouldn't want somebody to come to me on weekly or even daily basis and essentially just do admin. I mean, there would be a fair amount of admin, but I would want, you need to ask yourself, if you're being offered an internship in the music industry, you need to ask yourself, what am I going to get from this? Am I just going to be making coffee? Because if that's the case, then what are you going to learn? How to make a cup of coffee for someone? That's not really helpful to you to move into the music industry. Whereas if, for example, you're going to be sitting down with a composer scoring music on paper, and that's something you want to learn, then that's going to be incredibly valuable to you. If you're making coffee for them half the time, but also being able to sit in on sessions and learn the actual job, then I think that's hugely valuable, and that's something that not many people have an opportunity to do. I certainly didn't have an opportunity, especially growing up where I did in Wales. There weren't any studios offering internships or anything, so I would have jumped at the chance to do that. So I think that's where I stand with internships. It's something I'd like to offer myself once I've got the studio set up and I've got space to be able to have a second person sat in there and comfortable. And also, but I won't do that until I've set out a plan, and I would have to meet with them and say, what do you want from the industry and what do you want from me? And then the question is, how can I have this person help me increase efficiency on my job whilst also affording me to be able to help them, to put them in a position where they can then get that as a career. So I think that's an internship has to be a two-way street. And I do hear a lot about film directors, or maybe not directors, producers maybe, but the film industry is full of internships where basically it's just slave labor. The interns are being used as runners, and they're just driving a taxi basically for free as an intern. And that's something I completely disagree with, because if they're not learning the ins and outs of the industry, then there is no value to that internship. You might make a few contacts, but could you have done that without the internship? Yeah, probably. So then we've got another one from Zombo, which I'm guessing by your what appears as first question, saying, also, I'm assuming this was your first question, what are you going to do with the PCIe UAD card? So I've just mentioned that actually. I think I'll probably just have to bite the bullet and upgrade to USB 3 or Firewire, depending on what I end up with, and I'll just have to upgrade to a new system. Mine's only a duo core, I think, so it's not the most powerful one out there. I don't think they even make the duos anymore. I'm pretty sure they're all quad core, if not octa core. I've never really felt the need. I don't push UAD too hard, so I've never really felt that I needed that much more. But yeah, I think everything sort of moved on a bit. I guess with USB 3 or Firewire 2 or 3, you can have an external PCIe Express caddy, and I've looked into that, and some of them are really expensive, and I sort of priced it up and thought, well, actually, once you've paid for that, you're 3/4 of the way to buying a brand new quad core. So I don't really know is the answer, but if I upgrade, then I'll probably sell the one I've got, or probably even give it away, because it's probably not much use to many people. So yeah, there we go. And I can see the last one here. Andy Robinson has replied saying, I put my 2 octos in a Sonic Echo Express PCIe chassis. Oh, there we go. That's what I was just talking about. It's Thunderbolt 2. Oh, there we go. FYI. So yeah, maybe I should have read that first. So yeah, there we go. Thunderbolt 2 to PCIe chassis. And clearly he's put 2 octos in there. So clearly it can handle the speeds, which is no surprise, because the old PCIe Express is not that fast compared to modern day USB 3, Thunderbolt 2 and 3. So yeah, there we go. that, my friends, is all of the questions, I think. Yes. Yeah, that's all the questions for this week. So fairly short, I suppose, for usual. It's 20 minutes, I think. Yeah. So again, thanks for listening, and I'm not going to do a keyword this week. Actually, no, I will. I've just got some lens wipes delivered this morning, so yeah, let's use that as the keyword, lens. And thank you very much for listening, and please do get involved. I do like these questions coming through, so yeah, ask me anything you want, hence the title, Ask Me Anything, and I will get to you next Friday. See you then. Cheers.